What's up, everybody? Um, so, uh, yeah, I stopped early today because this load, this load is going to this place, this warehouse. We run rail runs loads there. We run a lot of coils there all the time. The problem with them is, uh, you can only show up an hour early for your appointment. You can't show up any earlier than that or they'll turn you away. And they don't have they don't have a parking lot. They're one of them warehouses where you pull in, you come around to the back, and then you go through the warehouse, and it's like as soon as you come out the warehouse, you don't even have room to park. Like, boom, you're at the street. Like, you actually have to pull out onto the street and go park like on the side of the road to like put the rest of your shit away. It's that kind of place. You know, I mean, I like it in the fact that you could pull up, pull all your shit down, and typically they get you in and out real fast, you know. But other than that, it's just that whenever you get a load to this place, it's always a loose load. It's always got time on it. You know, I'm always getting to this place anywhere from 6 to 12 hours ahead of time, maybe even more. You know, but like, you can't even call them and request an earlier appointment time. Like, it's in the load details. The appointment they give you is the appointment you get. You know, it's like, I'm basically here. You know, I'm just down the road anyway because I can't park on site. I can't sleep on site. There will be no point anyway. You know, because all right, it's 3:45. So I could have been getting there around like 4. Right, so that's 8. It's like 11 hours plus 8 hours. So I'm basically on the doorstep to the receiver 19 hours ahead of time. You know, and that hurts the fuck out of my productivity. Because honestly, I mean, that, you know, that kills, that's 19 hours. That's a whole fucking day. So if I was able to go, like, deliver early, you know, because the loads going to this place are always loose. There's always a shitload of time on them. But if I could deliver today, you know, or even sleep there and deliver first thing in the morning when they open, I'd be so far ahead of the game. Shit, if I was able to deliver today and then, you know, go ahead and get the next load assigned, the next load assignment, and then go to the shipper and, you know, pick up first thing in the morning. But the way it's going to play out is, you know, like, I can't even show up. My appointment's at 11, so I can't even show up till 10. So I'll show up there, I'll deliver, I'll be out by like noon, maybe 1. Then, you know, the next place I'm going to, that load, I bet you $5 that load's not going to be ready till Saturday morning. Which means I'll be sitting for like an entire fucking day waiting to get the next load. That shit pisses me off. But, you know, I'm keeping track of, you know, the loads I've run, and, you know, on my load notebook, I've started putting down the miles, the total pay for the total revenue for the load, and I've averaged, you know, and then I figure what I'm getting paid on that load per mile. And then I'm averaging those out so I can kind of, you know, I'm just collecting data, find out what kind of loads pay good, what kind of lanes are paying what, you know, and then just averaging it all out for the week, like what money did I pull for the week, how much per mile, you know. Just collecting data. These are things I'm trying to figure out and learn now that I'm on the other side of things. But I did get my first settlement. It was a little over $1,000, which isn't much more than I typically average as a company driver. But the reason behind that is because, you know, the week that I started out after I signed the lease, I ran a nice juicy load that paid good money, but it ran me over the weekend. It was a long motherfucking load. It took me like 3-4 days of running. It took me like 4 days of running or something like that. Yeah, it was a long load. And I wasn't able to get it turned in by the end of that pay period. So that very first week, I didn't have any loads turned in for the pay period. I had like 2 small ones I turned in for when I was still company. So I got my last company check, but I didn't get a settlement, lease ops settlement. So, and then that next week when I got my last company check and I didn't get a settlement because I hadn't had that first load, that percentage load turned in on time because it delivered on a Monday. My first truck payment had already come out, so I got my first settlement today. I was already $600 some odd in the hole because of that. You know, I gotta play catch up. You know, because basically, you know, you guys get it. You know, I was $660 negative or something like that. So that you know, I paid, so I had to pay that balance on this check. Then, you know, my overhead, you know, after overhead and what I already owed and all that shit, fuel and stuff like that. Not to mention, there was a load I turned in late that I fucked up and I missed the cutoff. Which ain't the end of the world. I'll just get paid on it next week. Which is a good thing, and I'll explain why. But that load that I didn't turn in was like $1,000 or something like, or it was like $1,000 load or some bullshit like that I didn't get turned in, or I don't know. I'd have to look. It's either $600 or $1,000. Had I had that load turned in, I think it was like $600 or $700. I think. My paycheck would be like, after coming out of the hole, paying my overhead and my fuel and all my bullshit, that would have gone onto my profit. So if I turned that $600, $700 load in on time, my check wouldn't be $1,000 or $1,100. It would be $1,600 or whatever, $1,700 or whatever the fuck, which would be pretty good. You know. So that's that. You know, I mean, as far as overhead, you know, if you guys were wondering, I guess I can explain that real quick. That's your truck payment. You got 3 different insurances that you pay for, right? That you pay weekly, you know, and I'm not gonna go over amounts because amounts vary. You know, your overhead varies on a lot of different, you know, what kind of truck you get, how old, how many miles, and, you know, I think your insurance may stay the same, but other things are different, you know, shit like that. I think insurance also depends on how young the truck is. I don't know, but I know that, you know, I pay I pay 3. Sorry, I say, you know, so much. It's a habit. I don't realize I'm doing it until I go back and watch the video later. But anyways, 3 insurances. You got a couple different escrows. You got a security escrow, which is just a security deposit for the truck. Maintenance escrow, which should be self-explanatory. It's money that is set aside that will cover maintenance in the future. And hold on a second. And then I think you have another escrow. I have to look. It might just be the 2, but I think there's a 3rd escrow I'm forgetting about. But you set them. There are minimums you have to put into these escrows. Like my maintenance escrow, rails minimum is 6 cents per mile, which is what I went with. Especially since this is a young truck, it doesn't really need much more than that. You know, but I probably will be putting aside a little bit of extra money on top of that in a different account for maintenance bullshit. And there's other minimums you have to put into your security escrow and stuff like that, that you pay in a weekly. And there's caps for these escrows. Once these escrows are satisfied, they hit their cap, they will stop deducting from your settlement. And you can change the caps, but I just have them set to the standard. There's standard minimums as well for those, like 10,000 or 6,000 or whatever. I think maintenance escrow is like $6,000. Security escrow is like whatever the hell it is. I have it all in paperwork. I'd have to look it up. But it's just an example of some of the things you have to pay for overhead. I pay like $5 a week for insurance for this stupid computer, because if for whatever reason I have to have this computer replaced, like if it gets damaged, or if something that's my fault, or even if it gets destroyed with the truck, if for instance, if I were to crash this truck into a tree and it caught fire, my insurance would cover it, and then I'd have to pay a $2,000 deductible. Well, this computer would get destroyed in the fire, obviously, and to replace that computer is $2,000. So instead, I could pay $5 a week, $20 a month, and it covers that. It insures the computer. You see what I mean? I could lose the whole truck and everything, and I'd pay the $2,000 deductible. But if I don't have that stupid computer insured, I'd be paying $4,000. So I went ahead. It's an optional whether you want to pay the insurance on it, as well as I pay $20 to use the trucking business service. It handles all my taxes and stuff, which I think is 100% worth it. $20 a week, $80 a month, 100% worth it, because they handle all my taxes and stuff. I don't have to, and they understand trucking, and they're able to find me deductions. I talked to my guy today who handles all my stuff, and any question I have as far as taxes, and they watch my profit and loss, and they can help me budget and stuff like that. They tell me where I'm losing money or where I'm doing well and stuff like that. But I'm just kind of getting into it, and they're gonna, I'm gonna talk to this guy periodically, and he's gonna tell me where I could do better, where I'm doing well, what I need to watch out for, because they watch my money for me. Rail sends them information as far as fuel and stuff. Well, maybe you should don't buy fuel like this, buy it like that, stuff like that. It's helpful, It's like having a friend in the game. So, that goes into my overhead as well. It's some other things, but all in all, my overhead is about $860. So it's the truck payment plus all the little small bullshit. So $860 is my overhead. Then on top of that is fuel. And how much ever I spend on fuel, which I'm gonna figure out an average on what I'm spending average per week on fuel, stuff like that. So with the $860 overhead plus the money I was in the hole and all that good shit, and then fuel, I got a low check this week because I'm catching up. Now, my check, here's the thing, my check next week will, I've already, now that it's Thursday, whatever I pick up tomorrow is, it'll be my weekend load. I'll pick it up on Friday, it'll deliver on Monday, whatever it is. Unless I'm able to deliver it on Saturday, which I'm pretty sure it almost never happens. But I'll deliver it on Monday, which means it's not going to be in this pay period. So usually by Thursday, I already know what I'm going to make for the week, how many, miles, money, all that stuff. And I've already figured exactly what I'm going to make for the week, which is like a little over $3,000. Problem is, after overhead and fuel, like I've just, because I need to start keeping track of exactly how much I'm spending in fuel, so that I just for myself, so that I can figure out, okay, I spent this much in fuel this week, and then I know what revenue I'm gonna be making roughly based on the loads I've run and stuff like that. I can calculate a week in advance how much I can come up with an estimate on what my check is going to look like, and then I can figure it out from there. So the problem with this wasn't a really, I had some decent paying loads and stuff like that. None of these loads paid all that terribly as far as cents per mile is, money per mile is concerned. Problem is, I just wasn't kept all that busy, So I mean, it's gonna be a $3,000 check, but after all things considered, after I pay overhead, then I pay fuel, that may come out to, about $1,500. So even if I get a check for $1,500, a quarter of that has to go into my tax account. I'm saving 25% of all the money that I make, so that I can put that aside for taxes, right? So that may only come out to about $1,100 or $1,200, which is not bad, but it's not as good as I'm hoping to do. But if I add up all the miles I've run this week, I've run like 2,150 miles, which means this wasn't a productive week, because like I'm gonna be sitting for half the day today. I sat for like a quarter of the day yesterday, and tomorrow, if tomorrow's load, even if tomorrow's load doesn't pick up till Saturday, I'll be sitting all day tomorrow too. So when I run a 2,150 mile week, what that tells me is I could have got one more load in. I could have got a 500 or 700 mile load in, or something like that, 500, 600, 700 more miles, with all the spare time that I've had on these loads and stuff like that, as far as appointment times and BS like that. I had enough time this week to fit in another load. So think about it this way: if my estimated check is $1,500 for next week, if I had gotten in one more load for, say, anywhere from between $500 to $1,000, depending on different factors, say $750. If I got one $750 load in, instead of $1,500, I'd be getting $2,250. And then even when I take the taxes off of that, I'd still be getting $1,400, or whatever. But it's just one of those weeks where I didn't stay really, really busy, and it's just the first week. But like I said before, there was that load that didn't make the pay period for last week, and it's gonna be on, or for this week, whatever. It's pay periods. That load that I missed the deadline on is gonna be on the next check, because it didn't make this check. So that's gonna boost my pay. And like I said, I think it's like a $700 load. So if I get that $700 load on the next check, instead of the estimated, $1,500, I'm gonna be getting, if it's $700, I'll be getting $2,200. So shave off a quarter of that, $1,600 check, which is good. My goal for this whole giant experiment is to take home net, after taxes and after all the bullshit, $1,500 to $2,000 a week. That's the goal, and I'm trying to figure out an arbitrary cutoff point to where if I make less than that amount per week consistently, if I average that less than that amount per week, then I'll reassess whether leasing a truck is worth it or not, or I'll go back to the drawing board and figure out if there's something that maybe I'm doing wrong or something like that, and I'm thinking, maybe like say I come up with a figure of $1,100. If every week after taxes, the money that I get to keep and use for what I want, it's not going to Uncle Sam's, not going to anywhere else, it's going to my pocket, my account. If that number is, say, average less than $1,100 a week, that's not a whole lot more than I average as a company driver. But then again, think about it. Even if, say, I average $900 as a company driver a week, this is pretty much what I was doing. Say I'm making $1,100 a week average take home after taxes. So I'm only averaging $200 a week more than I was company, but at the same time, $200 a week, that's another $800 a month I wasn't getting before. So that is significant, so maybe I should make the figure at $1,000. If I'm averaging less than $1,000 a week, and I'm averaging less than $400 more, I'm either making $400 more than I did company or less, maybe it's not worth the extra headaches, but if it's in the $1,500 to $2,000 range, which was what my hope is, it's what my goal is to be making after taxes, hell, maybe if it's even $1,300 or $1,400, it'll be worth it, that'll be nice. So we'll see. This week wasn't the best week, but for instance, I got a call from one of the lease op flatbed. I don't know what to call these guys. They want to call them business partners, but it's kind of weird to call them a business partner because they're not necessarily your partner in your business with you. I don't know. I just call them fleet managers. I don't know what else to call them. No, they don't want to call them fleet manager because they don't want owner operators, lease operators thinking that they have fleet managers. Oh, God forbid. But anyways, I talked to one of them yesterday, and he said, well, look, man, here's, because I delivered, and I was kind of waiting for a little while for a load, and then he called me up. He said, look, man, he says, I could get you this coil going down south, and that'll put you right where you need to be to pick up a good load out of Russellville. Problem is, this steel mill, they're not dog friendly. And he told me which place it was, and I was like, I've already been there like 2 times. I was there 3 weeks ago. I've never had a problem going in there with a dog. Hell, I've been at least 2-3 of their facilities and never had an issue. And he said, okay. I said, he looked at my backlog, and he said, yeah, you did just haul a load out of there. He said, you didn't have any problems? No, they didn't. I didn't have a problem with taking the dog in there. Because having the dog on the truck, supposedly what they do is they keep you out of places that are not dog friendly or have stated that they don't allow dogs, don't want dogs, whatever. And see, this, I was kind of thinking, I wonder if they have just this massive list of places that they're never going to send me because they know I have a dog on board. These places have said they're not cool with dogs. And it's a steel mill thing. It's big with the steel mills, But, here's the thing. All the biggest steel mills in the country, I've been to with a dog, either here or at Western. Your Nucors, your Gerdows, your Charter Steels, and, Worthington Steel, and all these big-ass steel mills that are, like Gerdows are all over the country. Nucors are all over the country. I've been to all of them, all over the country. And I've never had a problem bringing a dog in. So I think I'm going to call them and ask them, like, look, man, like, all these steel mills that say they don't allow, since I've had the dog in the truck, I've had the dog in the truck maybe going on a year. I've been to 2 places ever that had a problem with the dog, and I still got in and got loaded because they just said, oh, you got a dog with you? I said, yeah, is that going to be a problem? I said, I'm not going to let her out or anything. She's going to be in the truck. It's not going to, they said, can you keep her in the sleeper? Absolutely. No, not a problem. They said, yeah, okay, we're not supposed to let dogs in, but if you can keep her in the sleeper, close the curtains, then we let you in and get loaded. No problem, I'll do it right now. That's what I did. Just put her in the curtain, throw a leash on her, close the curtains, roll in. When I'm done getting loaded, I'll let her off the leash and she could run around the cab and shit. Hadn't been an issue. So I've never been turned down from a place I showed up to. A lot of places just tell, hey, keep the dog in the truck. So I want to make sure that's not hindering me from picking up juicy loads or picking up the loads I need to get where I need to get the juicy loads. But I was going to talk a little bit about percentage, and what I've been making as far as per mile. But I think, this video is already running a little bit long. I should probably put that in a different video about percentage versus mileage. And I haven't run mileage, just been on percentage just for this 2 weeks, but I can already see a difference between the two. And I could speculate based on the rates for being a lease op for getting paid on a mileage basis. But enough about all that. That's all I'm gonna talk about right now. Money's decent so far. It's decent. This is a decent check. Next check's gonna be decent. But once I get into a groove, and I got new fleet managers are feeling me out. They haven't quite learned that I'm a runner, I'm a worker. They're gonna learn. It's okay. They're gonna get it figured out that I can get it there, I can get it done, and I can produce. They're gonna see. They're gonna figure it out. Just like every fleet manager I've had, they figure it out, and then they get to the point where they start putting me on tighter and tighter and tighter loads, and instead of doing 3-4 loads a week, I'm doing 5-6 loads a week. Depending on mileage and things like that. I'm maximizing my time as far as productivity goes. But we'll see as time goes by. But other than that, I've been thinking about maybe doing a YouTube live stream or something like that. I don't know if anybody, if and then I could talk to some of you guys, but I don't know what time of day I would do it. Kind of depends on my schedule, but I figure maybe in the evening when people aren't really working or whatever, people's schedules. So maybe I could get on and do a live thing, and talk to some people. Like let me know in the comments, if you guys are interested, maybe me doing a live stream on YouTube, where you can, holler at me, you can chat with me live and shit like that. Maybe I'll end up doing something like that. I know that's what a lot of these YouTube truckers do, just for shits and giggles, maybe I'll do that. And I've had a lot of people ask me to start making a vlog every fucking day, which look, this is a hobby. This is my real job, and I fucking, I know I've been sitting a lot this week and shit like that, but I still got other things that I do, But so I'm probably not gonna be putting one out every day, but I think I will maybe start doing videos where I don't really have a topic, where I just kind of talk about shit. Because usually when I go for my videos, I usually have a topic I want to touch on, and then I discuss that topic, But I'm thinking maybe I'll have like a ramble series where I just talk about whatever the fuck I feel like talking about, and if they get views, if they get thumbs up or whatever, or good comments that people want to see that shit, just me bullshitting about whatever I feel like talking about, and not even just trucking shit, just whatever the fuck I feel like talking about, music, guns, maybe politics, if I feel like getting into that fucking hornet's nest, shit like that. Maybe I'll put out one and see how it does, and see how the feedback is, and if not, I won't waste my time with it if ain't nobody want to see it. So that's it for now. I may make another video later talking about percentage of mileage, shit like that, but that's it. I'll talk to you guys later.